everybody, and welcome. It's a Thursday playoff edition of The Hub. I'm John Roberts alongside of Andy Petrie and Bobby Labonte. And guys, what we've done here is we've started a 3-race mini season. 1 down, Andy, 2 to go.
Playoffs, baby. I'm loving what I'm seeing here. And, you know, the pressure's starting to ratchet up on those guys at the bottom of the list. I really like this format where we race for 3 races, and we're only going to take, you know, we're dropping off 4, so we only take 12 to the next round.
Yeah, and, you know, the guys that have been running really good here of late, they showed up at the front at Chicago. The guys that haven't been, they now realize that more than they got to get caught back up.
Even more
have
pressure.
2 races, way more pressure in this, the way this is set up today.
Yeah, everybody starts out with a chance at the championship, but we leave 4 behind after a very short period of time. But it's time now for today's Daily Fuel. The playoffs kick off Saturday at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Christopher Bell comes in as the top seed for the 8-driver field. Catch coverage Saturday at 12:30 on FS1. And Kentucky will be the scene of the Xfinity Series playoffs. Rookie William Byron heads the 12 title contenders. William is coming off a rough weekend in Chicago where a transmission issue took him out of the running early. Kentucky is the side of regular season champ Elliott Sadler's last win, and that came last September with 32 starts since then. So now let's take a little bit of a different look at the Monster Energy Cup playoff points right now after the Chase Elliott penalty. We'll get more into that in a moment, but look what it did to the playoff points. Martin Truex Jr. still leads the way, right ahead of Kyle Larson, but now Chase Elliott finds himself just 18 points above this cutoff line, and Austin Dillon finds himself as the last driver in, and Kurt Busch is the first driver out. So when the green flag waves at Loudon on Sunday, it will have been just 70 days since the Monster Energy Cup Series last raced in New Hampshire. Do you remember the July race and some of the action we saw on track?
Kenseth is going to pounce right now, trying to drive up under him, and he's going to hold the bottom line. Here comes Chase Elliott. He'd like to make it 3 wide down the backstretch. Oh, this is fun to watch, let me tell you.
They look like fighter jets in formation.
Truex wants the front, 3 wide. This is going to get really furious.
Yeah, and it was furious. A lot of action in that race. But, Bobby, do we see the same thing this time around?
I think so. I mean, I think when they're going to put the PJ1 down tonight, I think. And I believe that it will be. I mean, that was a great addition to that racetrack. It's a tough racetrack to pass on. I mean, it's just hard. I mean, you can spend lap after lap trying to get caught behind somebody. Next thing you know, you lose half a second a lap sometimes without making it pass. So I think that it will be the same, maybe even better this time. You never know, because it does make better racing for Loudon.
I hope it's as good as it was. That's some of the best racing I've ever seen up there. Sometimes that's a follow the leader type race because the grip's kind of either on the bottom or the top, wherever it is. That PJ1 that they put down really changed the game up there. I like what they're doing with that because of the unpredictability for the setups and the crews, and then the way it changes with the race, how it goes on, and how, you know, the car that might be the best in the early part may not be at the end of the race if that stuff wears off and changes your setup. So I just like everything about this PJ1 and how they put it on the tracks and what it's been doing for the racing.
And I go back to the driver's point of view. It gives you more options. I mean, before, like you said, you'd be in a rut as far as in the middle of the racetrack, trying to get a little bit on the bottom to try to get your car de-wedged on the asphalt that's not quite as much banking in it. And I've raced against guys at times that the tires were different softness, and the track was a little newer, and you could run in there and dime in the corner and do all kinds of things. So what I like, what I saw on TV this last time, was the fact that guys were able to do so many different things that they weren't able to do before. Made for, again, just great racing.
And you got a surface that's, you don't really know what it's going to be when you get there. So the engineers, they're back there doing all these calculations and all. They don't really know what they have until they unload that car and they get out there and start working on it during the race weekend.
Yeah, one other thing, this race can certainly go by in a hurry. Here's what a few of the drivers expect in New Hampshire.
Probably the hardest thing to learn at Loudon is probably just getting your whole corner connected, because you're in the corner so long there. You know, making sure that you roll enough speed through the middle of the corner to where you're not jumping the gas too early and make yourself tight off the corner. That's how you end up getting past.
You know, again, that balance is so important. Discipline yourself, not overdriving the corner, not being, you know, overconfident on the throttle, keeping the tires underneath of you. Just managing all those things goes, you know, towards a good run at Loudon.
I think that the bumps probably into 3, you know, getting those under control with having balance with the rest of the corner. Also, it seems like even more so this year than most years. It's, but it is very common at Loudon, especially loose in. I mean, so you just can't get tricked into thinking you've got to fix that. Because then it wrecks the center. And like I said, you need to turn.
You know, it's a win I've been after for a long time. It's a special track for me growing up, going up there racing and you know, running the K&N series, and kind of that helped pave the way for my career down south. We've been close. We've been getting closer. I feel like the last couple times we've been right there knocking on the door for a win. So for us, I think just try to put the whole race together and be in the right position at the end. We've led a ton of laps the last few trips there, and just need to be up front at the end when it counts.
So, gentlemen, let's take a look at the top 5 drivers from the last time around at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. What do you think? Do we see the same guys again, Andy?
It's a very good possibility that we will, because these are guys that are really good on racetracks where you have to have a lot of discipline. This is my guy that I'm looking at. Kyle Larson's good everywhere, but where you have to really be disciplined with the throttle. The corners are very flat, very long. There's a lot of slipping and sliding. This is a guy that does it well. He raced on dirt, a lot of car control. I think he'll be one of the guys to watch, and definitely one of your top 5 picks.
Yeah, Andy, I think all these guys, this could be a carbon copy of this race this weekend with this top 5 from the last time. You know, and I'm going to say that Matt Kenseth's probably one of the guys that I'm going to look for to do really well this weekend. You know, obviously, he's very consistent everywhere we go. He's been this way his whole career. I'm surprised he qualified third. He usually don't qualify that good. So, you know, and I do think that as far as he and his crew and his team, but they've been getting a little bit better towards the end and made the playoffs. And now they've got a little bit more momentum. So I think that they'll take some chances. I think he'll run good. I mean, I think he'll have a good day and consistent, big chance to win.
Might be his best shot to win so far this year.
It is.
Andy, anybody we're missing out of this top 5 that you want to keep an eye on?
Well, there's one guy missing from this top 5. How about Kyle Busch? If not for his 2 speeding penalties in July, you wouldn't see this 7th place finish. You said he led 95 laps. He won stage 2. You see him, you talked about smiling earlier. He does have a smile on his face, but I bet he wasn't smiling after that 7th place finish.
It's hard to talk about any race, especially Loudon, to think that Kyle Busch does not have a chance to be in the top 5. So the picture before is deceiving, because obviously with the 2 penalties, he come back to 7th. He might have been a half a lap ahead of the field if he hadn't had those penalties. You never know. So I think Kyle is obviously not in the picture of the top 5 from last time, but definitely going to be a contender if he has no problems. To go to Loudon, I mean, obviously he's won a lot of truck races, won everything he's ever been in up there. So you got to figure he's going to be a favorite.
And he's going to rebound from a bad race last week. I don't think he was really happy about Chicago. So I think you better be watching out for Kyle.
Yeah, pit road problems last time in New Hampshire and last race at Chicago.
They're going to clean that up, though.
Yeah, they certainly need to iron that out. Well, Chase Elliott and his Hendrick Motorsports team felt the wrath of NASCAR this week with a big penalty. What kind of message is NASCAR sending teams now that the playoffs are in full swing? We'll explore the scrutiny next.
If you're a NASCAR fan, there's a new podcast for you to subscribe to. Heritage Road, the podcast that drives you down memory lane, takes you under the hood, and gets you behind the wheel of America's favorite racing competition. They talk to the hardworking drivers, crewmen, and fans that made NASCAR possible then and now. From NASCAR royalty Bobby Allison to the broadcasters that brought racing into homes around the country, they've got all the stories you've probably never heard before. Hosted by the voice of Texas Motor Speedway, Rich Phillips, and brought to you by Busch, the beer that has supported racing since 1979.
Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott trying to hold off a very hard-charging Martin Truex Jr. Chase Elliott now is your new race leader. He will be coming to the green checkered flag.
Third stage win of 2017 goes to Chase Elliott.
It was a runner-up finish by Chase Elliott Sunday in Chicago, but as we found out on Tuesday of this week, that finish has been ruled to be encumbered, meaning it won't count in the playoffs. Elliott was docked 15 points. He loses his 1 playoff point for winning stage number 2 on Sunday, but that's not all. Crew chief Alan Gustafson and car chief Joshua Kirk were suspended for 1 race, and a $25,000 fine was handed down as well. So, guys, let's take a look at this. In the post-race interview for Chase Elliott, you see several members of the crew standing behind the car.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of,
I left off there, Andy.
There wasn't a lot of details about what happened here. We heard about the modifications aero-wise, but no real details. But we did dig around. We found some things here, and I've been here. Look, I've had these little things that we were trying to do that maybe you don't want people to know after the race. You want to maybe try to fix it, okay? You want to try to get it to go back through tech. We see these guys around the rear spoiler. That's the first place I'm going to be looking. There's a lot of attention. They're trying to be cool about it, and this is what that's the way you do it.
Fist pump because they did it really good.
But they're trying to figure out how they can cover this back up. And it's such a small thing. It's a detail thing, but it is in the right direction. And you can kind of see it. There's a little bit of the wrap coming loose right here in front of the right rear wheel, which makes a little bit of side force and down force. And then there's a little bit of the decal coming up on the rear spoiler that was making something of a lip. So that's kind of what they were doing to try to modify the aero devices on the car to make more downforce. I've done a lot of this, so I can tell you, when I saw these guys behind the car, I knew something was up. I said, I think we kind of see where the area was.
And my question is, why don't they paint the spoiler? Why isn't the spoiler painted instead of got a wrap on it?
Well, maybe they'll think about that now.
But I guess that's part of what these guys do. And obviously the way the rules are, there's not much you can do and get away with, like moving late like you used to. But what the fact of the matter is to go the detail that these guys went to, and they know in the wind tunnel what that creates, how much it helps them. And obviously, I know it's a driver.
They have a leg to stand on because it is a decal. Hey, it could come loose.
That is detail-oriented engineering.
Somebody's paying attention.
Very smart, trying to make that happen. But I know as a driver, I've seen things like this happen, where you look up and you see somebody, you're going along, hey, I think that guy's cheating because he's got something going on. It's different. So I wonder if somebody might have told on him as well. Because how could you have really found that? Obviously, the camera was there.
Yeah, it took us a while to dig into the video and find it.
When we see teams the caliber of the number 78 team going through tech over and over and over, does that tell us, guys, that now the scrutiny is greater because the playoffs are here?
I don't think so, John. I think it's because the teams don't want to leave anything on the table. As a crew chief, I don't want to leave. If I go through this tech line, I don't want to put my car out there that has 1/10 of 1 degree less steer than maybe one of the other cars. I want to have everything I can get. If it takes 4 times, it took Martin Truex 4 times to get through pre-race tech. If it takes 4 times, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to go and say, look, we can go through 5 pounds light because I think the wind's blowing a little bit over the scales. Maybe we can get a little bit lighter. Maybe it'll show a little bit heavier, and we can get through.
Again, it's the playoffs. You want to get everything you can get because every point counts. And as a driver, I would hate to go to the template room. I wouldn't want to see that, but I sure would want my guys to get away with as much as you can.
You want
that before the race starts.
Yes. So I don't think the scrutiny is any higher than it's been. I think that the stakes are a lot higher, and people are not leaving anything on the table.
Exactly. There is so much on the line. You don't want to miss any potential advantage. Now, last night here on The Hub, we debuted Season 3 of our Beyond the Wheel film series. If you missed the story of NASCAR racing in Japan, you can view it online at foxsports.com NASCAR. Our second film debuts this coming Wednesday, where Eric Almirola takes us to Cuba.
I'm different. Why am I different? I want to go to Cuba and see who I am and how I got to be a Cuban American who drives in NASCAR. I've got an incredible opportunity to trace the roots of my family. And I am who I am because in 1966, Abuelo and Abuela got on an airplane and left Havana, Cuba, and never looked back.
El Corredor, the racer, next weekend, 6 p.m. on the Race Hub. Don't miss it. Coming up, Larry McReynolds takes us back to where Dale Jr.'s career hit victory lane and Race Hub's first ever edition of Dale Yeah.
Up until that point, even though he had won Xfinity Series races, he had won 2 Xfinity Series championship, that question was out there, can Dale Earnhardt Jr. be a winner in the Cup Series?
If you recall, last year we ran a series called Smoke Stories as Tony Stewart made his final 10-race run. We had drivers and NASCAR personalities tell us some fun stories about smoke. With this being Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s final run, we decided to bring the concept back with the title, Dale Yeah. It was one of the most anticipated first visits to victory lane in NASCAR history. It never was a matter of if, but when Dale Jr. would win a cup race. It happened in the great state of Texas, and Larry McReynolds tells us how it happened in this first edition of Dale Yeah.
And how about this kid?
He can coast on now, Mike.
Checkered flag, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is Texas Motor Speedway's second first-time Winston Cup winner.
That first career win at Texas Motor Speedway, you know, I think maybe up until that point, even though he had won Xfinity Series races, he had won 2 Xfinity Series championship, that question was out there, can Dale Earnhardt Jr. be a winner in the Cup Series? And for him to do it in his rookie season at Texas Motor Speedway, I think it gave him the confirmation that I can do this, I can win. And I think it also, not that his dad, Dale Earnhardt Sr., ever doubted Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s ability, I think it gave him, Sr., the confidence in check mark that, hey, my kid can do this. He can be a winner in the Cup Series.
I'll tell you something else. He's talking about coming to Texas and winning his first Cup race. He won his first Busch race here. We knew the kid could do it. Tony Eury and all the guys worked really hard, and I got to thank Budweiser, Chevrolet, and everybody. This kid, he worked hard. Tony Jr., Tony Sr., Richie Gilmore, and all them guys in that engine shop. They got a good race car, a good engine, and the boy drove a good race.
And that was definitely one of those Kodak moments when Dale Earnhardt Sr. In street clothes after the race, got to victory lane, shoved everybody else out of the way, and I could still see that Cheshire Cat grin on Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s face, and couldn't wait to hug and embrace and congratulate Dale Earnhardt Jr. on that first win as a rookie at Texas Motor Speedway.
Larry, thanks. Really quick before we get into this, Andy, remember Dale Sr. leaned into Dale Jr. at the very end of everything and whispered something in his ear.
He said, get your own ride home. He was out here.
He wasn't going to wait for the celebration.
Okay,
one of the most asked questions in NASCAR right now. What are the chances that Dale Jr. wins in the final 9 races?
Who doesn't want to see Dale Jr. win again? I mean, we all do. We really do. The problem is you don't go from where they're performing right now and the way they're executing on race day to victory lane. You just don't. You have to kind of build on that. And Smoke did that last year. He ran good. It culminated with a win. There is one chance, though. There is one chance. We have Talladega coming up. So I'm gonna put the chances at 25% that he might get one more win before the season.
Just 25?
Well, I mean, it's going to be tough to get that.
Bobby?
Well, I do, like you said, Andy, I think everybody wants to see Dale win one more time before the year's over. And but you can't run where they've been running and expect to be the contender. It's so hard nowadays because there's so many guys that can win. And if you're not contending for the win week in and week out, it's just going to be so hard. But I do agree with you. Talladega is one of those places I will give him a lot better shot at it because I think he'll have a lot of momentum going into it, a lot of fan support. So I'm going to give him.
So you're giving him 50% chance to win
51.
The season's out.
He's doing you one better, Andy.
So, all right, maybe.
Oh, wow.
88%.
So I think he'll have a great chance to win Talladega. There's no doubt. It's going to be tough anywhere else, but you want to see him win.
Yeah, going to be a lot of focus on that race in the 88 car. Dale Jr.'s relationship with Martin Truex Jr. goes way back, and Dale's a big part of why Martin is racing in NASCAR's top series today. Up next, find out how Dale is once again going the extra mile to help out his buddy. Here's the weekend schedule for the action in New Hampshire. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series racing kicks off at 12:30 Eastern Time on FS1. NASCAR Race Day Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time on FS1. Then the Monster Energy Series coverage gets underway at 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Sunday. Now, here's today's Social Garage from Dale Jr.'s Instagram account. Dale Jr. and his wife, Amy, caught up with a couple of former U.S. presidents. First, he was hanging out with Jimmy Carter, and then here he is chatting with George W. Bush. Wonder what those conversations are about.
Well, you know, you think Junior, hey, I got to meet 2 presidents. But those guys are saying, hey, I got to meet Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I got to meet Junior.
Yeah, I hope they said that. That's what that was, yeah.
The Martin Truex Jr. Foundation is in the midst of its Drive for Teal and Gold campaign. September is the National Awareness Month for both ovarian and childhood cancers. Martin's girlfriend, Sherry Pollux, is currently battling ovarian cancer, and a number of drivers across all 3 of NASCAR's top series are showing their support by running a gold and teal steering wheel.
The Teal and Gold steering wheel is to raise awareness for ovarian cancer and prevention. It's something that's very close to Martin and Sherry Truex. The cause means a lot to me because of how close we have become with Sherry and Martin. So we love to support the drivers and their causes, and we all kind of work together to raise awareness for each other's missions, and this was very, very important to Martin and Sherry. They're very close friends of ours, and so we like to do what we can to be a part of their initiative.
Guys, we've said it before and we'll say it again, not just in professional sports, but just about any professional organization, no one rallies around their fellow competitors' cause like NASCAR drivers and teams.
I think so, too. And, you know, it's such a big family, and it's been that way since I started racing, and it's still that way. You know, you go out after each other every Sunday or every Saturday night, but, you know, we all are in it together when it comes to life.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, you know, you can't say it enough about what NASCAR does and what all the drivers do on their own. I mean, everybody's got something they help people out with, and obviously with Sherry and her ovarian cancer and her recovery and all the things that she's been through and going through that, I think that's just it's good to see that. I mean, it's always great to see that.
Great thing. Up next on FS1 is UFC Fight Night weigh-in, MLB action later. So long, everybody.
Hello there, welcome into NASCAR Race Hub.
Let's highlight Truex here, and let's put him here. He is moving on to the round of 12. Shocking news.
Moving on up.
Today, though, not serious at all. They competed, yes. Now I screwed up.
Congrats, Joey. You made this week in non-playoff news.
That's kind of the news you don't want to make. They competed, not with...
Oh, my sunglasses. They're caught. There they are. Well, I got more than I bargained for. All right, let's just go on with the show. This did not go like we were hoping.
Ding.
Does this look natural?
It's getting there. With PJ1, they put on it.
PJ, peanut butter and jelly?
Peanut butter jelly? Yep.
Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time.
Adam, for the record, the problem's not me.
And oh, look who's riding together. What were you guys talking about?
I got $100 on not one word was said in that whole ride.
You would be $100 richer.
2 minutes and 22 seconds on the clock. Dave, it's all you.
What could possibly go wrong?
Vote for me, most popular driver.
What would you do to win most popular driver?
I wouldn't do that.
The sun is as bright as Shannon's yellow jacket.
See, I never make the hubcap because I'm on Thursday.
Yeah.